But if they've been
It does
updated
have a
over
better.
time,
It does have the better mechanics, but the thing about it, I actually like dot hack characters a little bit better than dot hack GU's characters.
well, if it's not too bad mechanics with dot hack, then I'd say go with the original.
No, dot hack mechanics.
All alone. All alone.
You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
All
Vitamin
alone.
G. Discussing that heat in the street, and we got just what you need on vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. All alone. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone.
Vitamin G. Got what you need. Vitamin G. Got
All
what you need.
alone.
Vitamin G. Ay. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. You rockin' with beats, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G. Vitamin G. Vitamin G. Got what you need.
I'm on the outside looking
Vitamin G. Got what you need.
all alone.
Vitamin G. Hey. Final round. Black. I already know how I'm coming, man. Yeah. Tryna run the town. Tell no duck when they hear that sound. How they gon' come up now? Heavy as the head that'll wear that crown. I'm going pound for pound. And if it's about smoke, then we tote all of that. From an ounce to a pound. Check it, they biting this now. Cause my drip right up the sea. How could they be? Give me a couple of rounds. Cause I'm a beast when I'm on vitamin G. You see, they start crumbling now. Mind struck, start mumbling now. Get the gist, I ain't reaching for cloud. Plot twist, I'm the one with the keys. Clock blitz, know they love how I freeze. Different continents, I be torn. We living life, making yours look boring. See, we win at the end, it's a spoiler warning. Cause I keep heating up, I might blow the whole planet. They calling me toxic like global warming. But they keep tuning in once again and again. I'm the one at the top, just a formal warning. Truly, I'm De Niro when it come to movies. Get De Niro, entertain the groupies. Habanero if you come pursue me. But I hop on the gang, too busy rolled up whenever my girl getting moody. Link up with the gang, we all go insane. Catching them doors on the duty. I'm a stick, see, I'm locked in. Bought a box, I was like 10. Back then, used to box, nowadays they ain't throwing hands. Mama said we got more advanced. One thing about me, I adapt, bought a Glock fin. Keep me safe from the block in. The game kept me off the block. Ain't got flex about looting my Ruger. I can shit on you with my computer. See my graphics card costs more than your damn job can afford to pay you. And my monitor, big as hell, detail, so I can see when I spray you. To reload the clip and record the clip is go all say to that SSD. Know a whole lot of trill game heads like me wanna see tune into that VGP.
Stop going down here, bro. Dang. Hold on, my cat got under my bed.
What is going on? Now the Discord ain't working? Oh, you know what? Let me see something. It might be me. Oh, there we go. We are live. I'm sorry. Had a lot of technical difficulties. That's why we're a little late today. But welcome to episode 230 of the Vitamin G podcast. Being that I started late, my whole panel's here. So here we go. We got Nappy. What you been up to? What you been playing?
Hey, so how's it going? I have actually been. First of all, I finished my controller review. Finally, I'm back in the groove of making controller reviews. So the GameSir G7 SC controller review is officially out. This is the one controller that you can overclock to 1,000 hertz on the Xbox and PC. But also, now that they released the software to overclock this thing to 1,000 hertz again, there's also a warning label to let you know that there could be some problems overclock to 1,000 hertz. That can include bricking your controller. So it's cool that you guys get a controller that can go to 1,000 hertz. It's not cool that you could brick your controller in the process. So it's kind of like a iffy. It's iffy.
Is that input like even faster?
No, actually, the input definitely is faster. So the thing about it is,
I'm saying isn't 1,000 like faster than what you're gonna get like frame rate wise? So it's not necessarily.
It's not about frame rate.
It's not necessarily.
Oh, so a lot of people who are actually like real gamer, well, not say real gamers. The people who take gaming very seriously and competitive, they will usually have 1 millisecond response monitors.
Okay.
So, like for example, my 1440p monitor is a 1 millisecond respawn monitor.
Okay. So would you need 1,000 for that, or could you like clock it to like 750?
1,000. So you can clock it between. It's usually 250, 500, 1,000. No, 125 for 8 milliseconds, 250 for 4 milliseconds, 500 for 2 milliseconds, and 1,000 for 1 millisecond.
Okay, so you need that 1,000 for the 1 millisecond.
Yes, you do.
And
there's only very few
PC gamers. Do console gamers need that?
If you guys have TVs that support 1 millisecond refresh, then you guys will actually have a competitive advantage.
Okay.
So your TV or monitor that you can plug up into with a 1 millisecond refresh rate, you will feel the difference.
Yeah, I'm just asking because we have people who are watching the show and they may be interested in buying this controller, but they may have never overclocked the controller and may not understand the competitive advantages. So, just
I got you. But also besides that, also I've been going through. It's funny because one of our topics is emulators. I have been playing emulation. So my girl, she loves Steambot Chronicles. That was on the PlayStation 2. She swears that's like the best game in the world, and it's like okay. So I've been playing a lot of Steambot Chronicles on my PlayStation 2 emulator. I've also dabbed a little bit back into the Die Hack series because I am just reliving nostalgia. Also, of course, I've been playing a little bit of Helldivers 2 because I got to fight for that managed democracy at all times. Always fight for managed democracy. I also dive back into Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, and that's pretty much it about as far as all the games I've been diving into. Like I said, I finished my controller review. So the GameSir G7 SE controller review, you can check that on my YouTube channel after you're done with the podcast if you still want to stay up. And I got more controller reviews to come later on. So yeah, I'm busy, but I'm back on track.
All right, cool. And Chube, you're not usually around on time. How's your collector's edition of Final Fantasy Rebirth that you got?
Oh, it's chilling. That statue's chilling. Some of us get that shit delivered to the UPS stores. We don't gotta worry about it getting.
No, they lost my package, bro.
What happened was the employee kept it.
No, they when it gets to me, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you bought 2 copies so you can actually play. You had a plan.
I always buy 2 copies because
Oh, now it makes sense.
So
you want to keep it unopened.
If I buy, that's why I only really buy collector's editions because I'm not getting up to pop in a disc and pop out a disc. I'm not doing it.
Weird. Okay.
I'm a snob.
Yeah. Outside of that, I haven't. Just haven't got to it yet. Been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14. And Madden.
Okay.
Where we're at right now. Yeah. Looking forward to talking shit with you fine gentlemen.
And
having a good show.
The duelist himself, Zero, soon to be the king of Queen's Blood. I think that's the name of the game.
It is. I will be the king of Queen's Blood.
How have you been? What you been playing?
Good. Have you gotten to that part yet, Jube?
What's this?
It's the card game in Rebirth.
I haven't launched the game.
Okay,
I haven't played the demo. I haven't done anything. So I
think about like maybe 3-4 hours in. It's no triple triad session. Never played Gwent.
As you get further in, as the cards gain more abilities.
Let me ask this, Jube. Comparatively to any other card game that I generally might be familiar with, what is Gwent like? Also, can I play it on Xbox currently?
I mean, it's in The Witcher, bro. It's in The Witcher 3.
They made it a standalone game all itself.
They did. It is a standalone game.
Okay.
Yes, I believe Gwent is still available. What's it like? I don't fucking know. What's it like? I guess it's like that. What the hell is it? That one dungeon crawler game called Slay the Spire, I guess, is the closest thing.
Oh, well, hold on. Now you got my attention. I love Slay the Spire. That's my jam. Okay. All right. I'll check out Gwent to see if it holds up to Triple Triad because I love Triple Triad. Queen's Blood, for anybody who's terribly interested, is not too dissimilar from Marvel Snap.
Oh, what? Okay.
I think when you'll play it, like you'll get it. It's like it's a very limited set of things you can and are supposed to be doing.
You know what? I think Snap is a better comparison for Gwent.
Okay, then Queen's Blood probably isn't too far off.
Where you put your cards matter.
So of course, playing Rebirth, having a good time at Union. That's as far as I'll go into it. But really enjoying the game. Outside of that, I fell back into Monster Hunter, and I've been having an absolute blast. A friend of mine, I finally saw the light, downloaded Monster Hunter, so I'm sort of walking him through just the quest and getting him armor, killing.
That Monster Hunter World or Rise?
World, excuse me.
Ooh, that's a good one. They actually did an update to World.
It's called Ice after the Ice deal.
Character in Monster Hunter World.
Oh,
Really?
Yes.
I wonder if he's a special event quest because all the event quests are gone now. So I guess I gotta wait till the spring season for them to show up again.
Let me see.
But that's cool. Like that's good to know. I'll definitely be jumping into that. And they always do a great collab with. I mean, they are Capcom, but like they always make sure to bring in the rest of their characters. So I am 640 hours into Monster Hunter World. I love that game, man. So, and that's mostly it. And Apex a little bit, jumping in and out. It's a new season. They've kind of completely revamped the game now. So it plays a bit different than it used to. Which I think is a good evolution for the game. Like I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to continue playing it, and just keep going through there. And otherwise, that's it.
Well, me, I've been going through a month-long ordeal. I think you guys remember, what is it? A couple episodes back, UPS sent me a message that I would be getting my package. I think that it shipped out on the 10th, and I would be getting it on like the 15th or 16th. 15th or 16th. It gets here, package doesn't show up. Then after that, I don't hear anything about my package till the 25th of February. And I'm like, as long as it gets here by the 29th, I'm not gonna worry. And it's like the 25th, I still haven't heard anything. And then like late, I checked the app on I think that Sunday, which is the 25th of February. Boom, it says it's coming March 1st. March 1st gets here. Of course, my package doesn't show up from I ordered the collector's edition. So of course it doesn't show up on the 1st. So I ended up putting in a claim, and I've kind of just been thinking that my Rebirth package is lost. Boom, today it's in Pennsylvania, and it'll be at my door tomorrow apparently. So I thought they lost my package. I thought I was going to have to be working on getting a refund at some point because it just was bad. I was kind of panicking. But still been playing Rebirth because I bought the collector's edition and I bought a digital copy because I don't like popping disc out and putting them in my system. And I'm about 50 hours in, having a good time with it. I am at the Gold Saucer in chapter 8. And I believe there's only 12 chapters, so I'll probably be done by like Thursday or Friday. That's pretty much all I've been playing is Final Fantasy Rebirth. Kind of dealing with no, I'm not gonna tell you what it did because they kind of changed it a little bit. Like kind of the order of events. So, but I'm at the Gold Saucer, having a good time. Just finished most of the date stuff. That's been about it for me.
Can I ask just one general question?
Sure.
About the date stuff. One, is there a trophy for dating multiple people?
I didn't go through the trophy list.
Okay.
To see what the trophies are.
And
I do know before the game came out, they told you that after you beat the game the first time, you can go back and do the dates with every character. You can just pick whatever character you want to take on the date.
That's all I need to know. All right, so it's not going to be like the first one.
Unlike the
dress,
the wall market thing. Yeah, it's not like that. You just choose who you
that's all I
want to
need
do the
to
dates
know.
with. And all you have to do is max out the relationships with all your party members. So one of the big things in Rebirth is that they reward you for how you respond in the certain conversations and certain chapters, and it either keeps your relationship the same, improves it, or brings it down. And then there's also like side quests you can do that help improve your relationship with other team members. And then actually using them in your party and using the synergy skills and the synergy abilities, which are two different things, also can help improve your relationship with your character, with the other party members. So it kind of encourages you to use everyone to some extent in your party. But I'll go through more of that in the impressions portion of the show. That is one of our topics today. But yeah, other than that, anything else anyone want to talk about before we dive into our first topic of the day?
One small announcement: Remnant 2 is now cross-platform.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
PlayStation people can play together now.
Yeah, PlayStation,
Nappy,
Xbox,
we need to
PC people too, right?
Yeah, I said that PC, Xbox, and PlayStation can all play together now.
It's a beautiful thing.
Nappy, we got to get up. We got to get up. Play some Remnant.
And it's in Game Pass, so you know your Xbox buddies have no excuses unless they try to.
Yep. So we all can play together. Should have been like
40. All right, and let's jump into our first topic of today. There was a investigative journalism piece that dropped. I don't know if you guys saw it the past couple of days, but if you haven't, even better, because everyone gets to see your live reaction. But Eurogamer released an article about some of the mismanagement going on at PlayStation Studios. And it's kind of a damning article because, you know, we have the previous weeks with the financial reporting and the pending CEO of PlayStation, CFO Totoki. He was talking about how PlayStation Studios, they make good games, but they don't know how to make money. And now you're kind of seeing kind of the ramifications of them not knowing how to make money, and kind of Sony. And basically it's talking about how it's basically focusing on Fire Sprite and how they suffered high profile exits after accusations of a toxic work culture. I'm just gonna kind of hit some of the key points here. They've been accused of sexual discrimination, ageism. They brought in the support studio XDev, and they've pretty much just been going crazy on the studio. Let's see. Talks about the Twisted Metal being canceled. Apparently employees who worked at Fire Sprite Studios have almost like all of them, because I don't know how all of them, but a lot of them on the public employee reviews have left pretty bad reviews for Fire Sprite on Glass. About money, toxic bullying culture of fear, stating that Fire Sprite's old way was disorganized and Sony has remodeled the studio, which has ruffled many feathers. And you know, this comes on top of Sony London just announced being closed last week, and just a lot of other issues going on with PlayStation Studios. This is the third studio closure this generation. They closed Sony Japan, they've closed Pixel Opus, and now they've closed London Studios. So it's a lot going on. And it's a lot of issues going on at Sony Studios. I can put the link in the chat if people want to link to the actual article. But I just want to kind of get you guys' reaction. I don't know if you guys read this over the weekend or last week. But yeah, Nappy, what are your first thoughts hearing this? I don't know if you've read this previously, or is this your first time hearing it?
This is my first time hearing it, actually. It kind of doesn't surprise me that PlayStation Studios had mismanagement, and because of just seeing the consistencies of games of their first parties being released, it wasn't been timely as much. It's very unfortunate to hear about like gaming industries, about how they push their workers above and beyond and making these toxic workplaces. We already just dealt with the whole APK thing about the toxic work environment that had. Now Sony as well. That is pretty upsetting. And honestly, I really do hope that other people who did left found better jobs, and like overall, it just hurts the community. I just hope that that now moving forward that Sony's profitable, because overall, like if you have a toxic work environment and there's no products being produced, Sony loses money.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing Sony wants to do is lose money.
Well, that's what they're doing right now. They're losing money. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm gonna go to Jubei. I'm gonna go to Captain Xbox. What are your thoughts? Oh, I think you're muted. I think I muted you because you had some baby noise. There you go. I muted you.
Yeah, didn't they like just acquire Fire Sprite like a little bit ago?
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it's happening under Sony's watch at this point. They know what they're doing. It's shitty. I'm glad it's kind of coming out, and I kind of want to see what happens and where this goes. I know a certain someone that should be here is not should be in here having to answer for these charges and beat these allegations. But then I now see why he decided to go play Final Fantasy instead.
Well, I didn't tell anybody what the topics were today.
It don't matter. This was news. He ain't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So I mean, it's shitty, but
I was kind of vague
like
on the topic and the
It's an industry thing at this point. Like, it's a really shitty industry thing, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Zero, most level-headed one of the crew. What are your thoughts? Kind of hearing these issues kind of starting to leak out of Sony, who's typically pretty tight-lipped.
Yeah. It seemed really unfortunate. Like Nappy, I hope that Sony can pull out of this or right the wrongs that have happened. I think the most interesting part about it is Fire Sprite. They did Call of the Mountain, right?
Yes.
So are they primarily a VR studio?
No, they're not primarily a VR studio, but I think they're more of like I think they focus on like first person. Mm-hmm. So that might have been why they got tasked with the VR.
Got it. Because I don't know. My first thought is after hearing you, it's like they did VR stuff, and I don't know how long Sony is planning on keeping the PSVR around.
Well,
I
London
guess
was a
doing
full VR
okay.
studio, and that they turned them into a full VR studio. So that kind of.
And then London got closed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I think the VR is on its way out. Which I'm not surprised, all things considered. It doesn't seem like they put a lot of effort into bringing the Sony charm to their VR studios.
Well, they're about to bring it to PC, but it doesn't do anything for them because you don't really make money on hardware. You make money on the sale of software. They're not in a position to sell any software, any VR software on PC because they don't have a store. They don't have an app to even link the PSVR to too. So,
and if we're talking software, Sony fans have a standard of what they want and what they enjoy out of the Sony property. It does not seem that any VR game has come even close to that. Like, it doesn't seem that any game has even come close to Half-Life Alyx or Beat Saber.
Do you think Sony messed up changing the standard to this AAA overly cinematic, over the shoulder type thing? Because Sony used to be a place of creativity and fun. Like, they made a wide variety of games. They didn't, but then they kind of found this niche where they made a lot of money, and it seems like they leaned a little bit too hard into it to the point where it's like killing their budgets now.
Personally, I think 2/3 of the industry leaned a little too hard into bleeding edge technology and cutting edge graphics, while ignoring that, like on the PC side of things, games like Undertale, Stardew Valley, Doki Doki Literature Club became like massive hits, or Lethal Company, or what's the Imposter game, sometimes,
Among Us.
yeah, Among Us. Like sometimes they're flashes in the pan. Sometimes they last a little bit longer. But like Steam, to me, Steam and to a lesser extent Nintendo show that like you don't need bleeding edge technology to make good, fun, and engaging games.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't think. I can't think even on the Xbox side. I can't think of that smaller like game that was just about the fun factor.
Right.
I mean, I think I think Xbox has tried more than PlayStation, like with Battletoads. I think Battletoads is actually better than people give it credit for.
Hey! You forgot Xbox got Bluey the video game.
Bluey, that's a kid's game, but that's not their game.
I mean, it's Bluey.
I mean, Ori, I think
it's in that Game Pass, bro.
No, or I'm talking like more like a Rock Band or a Fall Guys or games that have a little bit more of like a social element, like that type of game where like, you'd have like 3 friends come over and y'all would all, play it.
Yeah.
Go Mecha Ball. Go Mecha Ball. That's a Game Pass.
No, but my thing is we don't see like
them.
big companies making those type of games angame like where it's just made for you to have fun. Like Astro's Playroom was such a fantastic, game. It's really a tech demo, but it was really well done. And I think those are the kind of things that you're missing from the industry right now. Because I just remember, I think I posted a pic of like my old video game collection, some games that I found. And there were so many like just little games you could just pick up and play and have like fun. It wasn't about like this big story or anything like that. You could just pick up and play and have fun. And I think that's kind of driving people away from gaming because you don't have those casual games anymore.
And it works in that way, despite what Twitter will tell you, like there's a large swath of people who just like to have fun with these games. They're not very interested that in 4K 60.
Yeah,
they don't know what ray tracing is.
On your phone now. They're on your tablet.
But what they enjoy is Fall Guys.
Yeah.
What they enjoy is Mario Kart. Even Helldivers has managed to like bleed through because like you can be scrolling through TikTok and see people lean into the lore and stuff of Helldivers,
but Helldivers is a pick up and play game.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pick up. You pick up, get with a couple of friends, and just like have a blast.
Like the beauty in Helldivers is that someone can pick up the game a year from now, and it won't be like, oh, you can't play it because
exactly you've lost out. Yeah, or this mission has been sunsetted. These guns don't exist anymore. It's like no, similar to Monster Hunter. I hadn't played Monster Hunter probably about a year and a half. Picked it up. Nothing has generally changed. It's the same game, and it's the same fun game.
Appreciate you.
And so, if we circle back to the sort of laying off of Fire Sprite and all these people, it positions, to me, Sony to look kind of poorly, at least when I'm thinking about, are they going to see the success of Helldivers and say, how can we duplicate this again?
Well, the thing is,
I think they shouldn't try to duplicate it
because it's a third party studio that made it for them.
I think the goal is not to duplicate the game, but just to understand the message of the communities. Just like we don't need a crazy innovative story with crazy graphics. I mean, it's kind of cool that they hire actors now for some of this stuff, but I mean, I don't need a crazy story driven game like every month or every 2 months. Like,
you need like
sometimes I just want to pick up a game and go brain dead. Sometimes it's okay to do that.
Yeah. And so, like, once again, it's unfortunate that Fire Sprite had to go. I was never.
Well, Fire Sprite's still around. Confident. London had to go.
Excuse me. That the company had so many layoffs and such, and that the environment itself wasn't great. Because it poised this position where either
Sony you gotta remember we heard the same thing from Bend. Bend was having the same type of issues.
Yeah, where like Sony knew and didn't do anything, or Fire Sprite was on their own little island and like nobody cared to like check in. I guess we will find out when inevitably some people, perhaps Jason Schreier is already working on the article. Who knows? But we're seeing all these layoffs industry wide, which is showing that like this large, big budget thing doesn't seem to be very sustainable.
Yeah, so I won't say it's unsustainable. I think in Sony's case in particular, I think in some ways this is the Xbox effect, in the sense of Xbox started buying up all these studios. And I think Jim Ryan was over his head to begin with as CEO. I said we were still doing the show when Sean Layden stepped down and Jim Ryan took over. I said this is a horrible decision for him for this to happen. I think he was over his head. I think that he panicked and started purchasing all these studios, and he acquired them in such a short amount of time that he wasn't, or PlayStation wasn't really able to assimilate those studios into the family, into the culture, and still be productive and all those things. And now we have what we have now, where Bungie's failing. You're closing your third studio this generation, which doesn't look good at all. We haven't heard anything from Bend. And it's just Naughty Dog hasn't made a game this generation. They just up-res some games and added some particle effects and re-released, previous games. It's really just been it's been a mess in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of this is them trying to catch up to something that they didn't need to catch up to, because there was no benefit to PlayStation in acquiring all of those studios. The only thing that acquiring all those studios did was put more stress on your budget. You were already getting all of those games. Microsoft wasn't going to go buy Bluepoint. Microsoft wasn't going to go buy Firesprite. Like, they didn't actually need to own those studios. PlayStation was in a position as the market leader where they were already getting all these games. They, like, pretty much any game that comes out finds its way to PlayStation. It's Xbox that's the one that has to fight for games. However they can get it, whether it's acquisitions or whatever, making deals, funding, different little projects here and there. They fund games and allow them to release on, they fund third-party games and still allow them to go to other platforms as long as they hit Game Pass. Like, they have to do a lot to make sure that they get games. PlayStation's not in that situation, and I think they acted like they were and kind of put themselves behind the 8 ball. And then by purchasing all these studios, and now they're trying to fix a bunch of stuff that didn't really need to be fixed, and they're causing a lot of problems in studios that you liked the way they were running before you purchased them. So it shouldn't be all this turmoil, before they even had a chance to release a game for you. Like, why are you shutting, like, why are these studios going through all this turmoil? They haven't even had a chance to release their first major project under you yet. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy.
Well, I think it just speaks to a lot. I mean, to be fair, the industry is generally reactive instead of proactive. There's no arguable reason why both Sony and Xbox needed to dive into motion controls, because neither one of those things lasted very long. There's arguably no reason Sony needed to dive into VR, because chances are that thing isn't going to last very long. And simultaneously, neither did Nintendo. They didn't need to make
Kinect
Labo.
Was successful though. The 360 one was successful.
I'm sure it's successful to them, and Kinect as a product, it's probably has great uses outside of video.
No, I'm talking
gaming.
about I'm not talking about Xbox One. The 360 Kinect was
banging. Like, I remember Just Dance.
Yeah, it was a major.
Not Just Dance, Dance Central, everything.
Success.
And that's my point. Where Just Dance is still here, where is the Kinect for it?
They kind of forced you to purchase it with a console. That was
you see what I mean by like we can talk success, sure, but like only one company for the most part still even invest in motion controls. And that's the people who kind of started it to begin with.
Yeah, and even on the Wii, it's not really used a lot anymore.
Exactly. People are still handheld or docked. And like the allure of the Joy-Cons have definitely worn off over the years. And I barely even use them. I use a Pro controller.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean by like, I'm not gonna call them failures because I don't know what they measure their success on. But you know, everything seems to be reactionary. And you're right, Sony didn't really need to buy all these studios, especially when we look at where Microsoft and how they're moving now. They were coming to you anyway.
Yeah.
So you could have probably saved a little bit of money, but of course hindsight's 2020.
I said,
but you know, it's
we can run.
It spins. You know, it paints the picture of the industry, and this Sony sort of article I think is highlighting what could be a larger problem going forward. There's going to be a culling from all the mistakes that happened in the past. And it's very unfortunate and a little frustrating because a lot of these mistakes are self-inflicted. Most mistakes are self-inflicted, but a lot of them seem like they could have been avoided if they had just probably tried to stop chasing fast profits and looked for long-term stability.
I think at this point, to kind of stop the bleeding, I would say they probably need to let go of Bungie.
Ooh.
Well, Bungie has done this before. They did it with Xbox. They did it with Activision. I think they need to find a way. I think they need to find a way out of the Bungie deal, and then like maybe after Marathon comes out, let Marathon comes out. Let that last Destiny DLC come out. Make your money back off of that, and then just find a way to like amicably like separate, like Toys for Bob just did with Xbox. And I think they do that, and maybe let Firesprite or Firewalk. They bought Firesprite and Firewalk. Let one of those two go and kind of just get back to like the core studios you kind of started with. Keep Nixus because they do the PC ports, and keep Bluepoint because you know they've always done games for you, but just kind of like get back to where you were, and maybe reopen Studio Japan and kind of get back to making some more creative, cheaper games. But I just think they grew way more than they needed to, and that's the source of their problems. I think their problems are unique to them more so than the industry. Because I mean they're selling record consoles. I know they're not, selling record games, but if you're selling record consoles and most of the software is being bought on your platform, there's no reason why you should be struggling to make a profit.
Well, it's funny because the problem is that everyone got a console now. So unless you're going to release another console, how else are you going to make money?
I wish you could make more money, which is why we see Xbox doing something different. Because they flat out admitted, like, not only are we pretty much not selling any more consoles, we aren't going to sell more consoles than the Sony side or the Nintendo side. So we got to figure something else to do.
Yeah.
We will see if it works for them, but like that's how they pivoted to do something else.
Well, I think Xbox is just pushing where gaming is ultimately going. I think we'll still have a console maybe for one or two more generations, but I think
all of a sudden,
I think that gaming has kind of capped out because people who are interested in gaming are not willing to make that initial $500-$400 investment that it takes to get started into gaming to figure out if you like it or not. So they have to remove that barrier. And like just like gaming took off with mobile gaming because people already had to buy a phone. Like people already have to buy TVs, people already have to buy some type of computer, things like that. So I think gaming will ultimately go to the point where, yeah, you can have a console, but there's going to be some type of streaming. There's going to be maybe the APUs start getting built into the Samsung and LG TVs of the world. They start.
They already are working on that.
Yeah,
It's a
but
it's a low key project.
Maybe a deal gets done to where that chip is an Xbox chip, or that chip is a PlayStation chip, or some type of unified chip that runs PlayStation and Xbox games. Like they work, they partner with them, and
Yeah.
I'm telling you that's where it's gonna end up going, because like like that $500 barrier has pretty much capped the industry to where you're only selling about 270 to 300 million consoles a generation, and they got to get over that if they want to make the type of money that they want to make. It's not a prop like $60 and $70 games aren't the issue if you don't have to buy a $550 console now. Like that's how much it is now, $550, right? So
still $500, $550 in other countries.
Yeah,
USA
most
is
places in the world is
fortunate.
$550 now, so or the equivalent of $550 USD. So I think that's kind of where it's going.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
If you guys don't have anything else, we will quickly jump into topic number 2 of the day. Which I thought was a pretty creative and funny thumbnail. If you guys have, I don't know if you guys saw it, but let me throw the time.
Yeah, where my money at?
I had the Stewie, where's my money? Did the stream drop?
No, it's still up.
Okay. My time. Oh, there's live. My timestamp. I'm like, I didn't see my timestamp thing, so I was like, kind of panicking. Don't pay me any mind. Just kind of out of source today. So yeah, Nintendo has sued Yuzu, and for those who don't know, Yuzu is are they a company?
So yes, they are. There is a company because they're not really called Yuzu. The emulator is called Yuzu for the Nintendo Switch. They also owned a Nintendo 3DS emulator called Citra as well.
Okay, so they actually sold the emulator.
They didn't sold it. They shut it down.
No, I'm saying that they used to sell it to customers. Is what I'm saying.
No, the Yuzu emulator was open source code. It was free.
Okay, so they're not like really like a for a profit company then.
No, it's not a profit. It was a passion project.
Okay. So Yuzu basically made like a Switch emulator, so like you could like basically pirate all your games onto your PC.
Whoa, sir. Hold on. We not going to start with just pirating.
I said you could. The potential.
I'm about to say.
You had the potential to pirate all your games onto your PC, and enjoy them to shut down their emulator. And at first they came out on Twitter kind of strong, like we're gonna fight Nintendo, and over the weekend or Monday they closed up shop. So
literally today.
So yeah, so they closed up shop. The emulator is no more from them, at least. I'm not really into emulators that like that. So I'm gonna just
usually with emulators, you will see games being emulated from past generation games that you can no longer find in stores. But this one is actually an emulator that was started off with, which was a Metroid game that recently came out, and Legend of Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom. So the thing about both of those games is that if you had a hacked Nintendo Switch, you were able to install firmware to that Nintendo Switch to allow you to dump your product key and all your games. For going back to Metroidvania and Tears of the Kingdom, some asshole basically got early copies of the games, put it into their hacked Nintendo Switch, leaked the games on 4chan, and basically distributed the games before even the games were physically released in stores and on the eShop. So there was people who were playing Tears of the Kingdom at 4K with their before even Nintendo people were able to play the game. And same thing with Metroidvania, which people were saying like, "Yo, why are you doing that? Like, do not pirate this game. The game's not even out yet." So, unfortunately, yes, there were pirates. So I guess with that being said, Nintendo decided, like, you know what? enough's enough. They build up their case and they decide to file a lawsuit against the team who made Yuzu. Basically, and I guess for the week, even though Yuzu was going strong, the one thing that Nintendo got Yuzu on, which is technically Nintendo works, is you need to have a physical Nintendo Switch. You have to unlock your Nintendo Switch, i.e. like hack it, and take the product key off your Nintendo Switch and put it onto the emulator just for your emulator to work, because without that product key, you will not be able to decrypt any of the Nintendo Switch games. So with that being said, so technically the software itself can't work without the product key, or is that Yuzu on their website had a step-by-step process on how to unlock the Nintendo Switch and how to get the product key, which bypasses Nintendo Switch security methods of how to play their games on the preferred hardware. The Smash Brothers community was playing on PC. You have Mario Kart, Splatoon 3, man. People were going ham with the online community as far as Yuzu, which is a complete no-go because directly with Nintendo and offering, which honestly I could say is a better experience because I do have Yuzu on my computer. And I'm glad I started up this weekend because now I got the final copy of Yuzu now that it is gone forever. So the thing about it is like, I understand why Nintendo did what they did, but it still sucks. And what I'm scared for is that this is going to open the door for them to try to attack other companies. Like they recently tried to attack Dolphin Emulator because Dolphin was become an official program for the Steam Deck, and Nintendo came in full swing and trying to shut that down. It can't work without the BIOS. If you don't have an actual PlayStation 2 and can rip the BIOS off of that thing, it's a dead emulator. And I think it's just going to open the doors for Nintendo now thinking that they can attack everything. I do understand current consoles that are currently out, but I will say that is not everybody that is going and pirating their Nintendo Switch games, get a product key. That's not what everyone's doing. Some people actually officially own their hardware and own something so they get a better experience. So, and it kind of did suck for the Metrovania and the Tears of the Kingdom. We don't really know how much money they lost on those games, but both of those games still sold very well. So I'm trying to figure out, like, I get it, but I'm not really happy about Nintendo kind of getting rid of Yuzu Emulator, because after the Nintendo Switch is done and they come out with their Switch 2 or whatever, one is the emulation. Wow. And Nintendo, they don't give a damn. They go after like Dolphin for this anymore.
Well,
what y'all talking about?
The issue with I don't think Yuzu was high on their radar at first. I think the main reason that they're going after these emulators now is because they're about to release new hardware. And why do I want you running games on your Steam Deck when I'm dropping the Switch 2 next year? So I think that
is it going to run my old game? Is it going to run the old games?
I'm sure it will.
Nintendo's not know. Last time we had backwards compatibility was with the Wii and the GameCube.
Yeah, but I'm guessing that this one will have some sort of backwards compatibility. That's my guess, especially now that you can purchase your games digitally. I'm guessing your digital games will move with you. I can't say anything about the cartridges, but I do think your digital games will move with you. I don't think, they die on the old Switch. Just me personally. Lost it. But if I find it, I'll bring it back up. I'm gonna throw this.
Yeah. Also,
I'm gonna throw this down to the Nintendo guy. Zero. What are your thoughts on this whole Yuzu Nintendo thing?
It is certainly a challenge. I'm not necessarily happy to see Yuzu disappear or no longer continue in what it was doing. But what did you expect to happen? And what I mean by that is not to say that they were in the wrong. Like, I guess legally and or technically they were in the wrong. But like Napa said, like morally, I'm probably right. Like, they are very good to keep around these games that we might not be able to get anymore. It certainly becomes a little sketchier when you're talking about Switch games, which like you simply have at least backwards compatibility, at least for me, from the previous generation, isn't a good enough reason to quote unquote pirate. It does. So I don't need to do anything extra or special. Whereas the PS2, if I want to hook it up to my HDMI TV, I gotta buy an extra piece and all this other type of stuff and like make it work on the screen that I have. That's not
They're not new to it. They're
finicky.
true to it.
Yeah, they're finicky about their stuff and people emulating their stuff for right, wrong, or indifferent. Like they don't like you doing it.
Yeah.
But what I think the problem is, and what I'm like Nappy highlighted on it, I'm concerned that Nintendo paints with a broad doubt that all the other two think all emulation is bad as well. But it becomes difficult to support that point when, they like to play these fucking games with Mother 3, where like it just won't seem to come over to the West. And there doesn't seem to be any reasonable reason for it not to. They just don't want to do it. Kisake that, Kofi uses where like it's a smaller game, so they might not ever bring it over. This is Mother. Lucas has shown up in Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So, like, what are we talking about here? Just release the game. It can't be that difficult, and you've had success in re-releasing old games fairly recently.
Yeah, Skyward
So,
Sword.
like, Mario RPG. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Like, all of these things are, like, pretty good and did well. So what do we look at something like rare 3DS games that just become impossible or unreasonable to find and or buy because their price has skyrocketed up to hundreds of dollars? Game of Life, a little bit of Mario Party, all mixed into one. That game's like $400 now. That's ridiculous for a 3DS game. It's just absurd that it would cost that, and then you have to find it.
Yeah.
And Nintendo's not selling it. So, like, where do you expect me to go? I think what probably needs to happen is that the Internet Database is one of the few like organizations that like stand on the principle of like preserving games history. Because as noble as Yuzu or any of the other emulator people are, I don't believe they actually care about preservation. Unless you're really prepared to go fight this, you're not going to win against Nintendo.
Yeah.
So, like,
Dolphin did.
True, and every once in a while somebody's gonna like win it. But even to that point, what has Dolphin done to help the emulation cause since then? Right.
All the Nintendo Switch games are currently on the market. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The eShop is still live and functioning. That's the problem.
You can't tell me you care about preservation.
Basically, they gave them.
No, it's like this. They put the gun on the like this. Yes, we are the creators of the gun. No, we didn't kill people.
Yeah.
Right. And they need is effectively a emulation NRA of sorts, who is an organization that is designed to protect these people. You can't go at it by yourself for the most part. And no matter how many times people scream, play Smash and Mario Kart, so how much do you really hate Nintendo?
Yeah, because
not enough.
They were emulating that. I will say that there were later sites from distributing Nintendo Switch games. They took all their Nintendo Switch games off their emu sites. It was like a bunch of them did.
And one can make the argument: why are you emulating Nintendo Switch games?
With other
you can do that. Yeah.
With other people who just straight up grab it online. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on the wrong. Like this game is the console's out. You can still go to the store buy the console. You can still go in the store buy the games.
Exactly.
There's an online community that they do charge for, which Yuzu did start doing it online, and people were playing Splatoon 3, Smash Brothers Ultimate. Like they were going ham on their personal private online servers.
Yeah, listen, I'm not sitting on my high horse here. I've emulated before and probably will in the future. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is like if you care, you've got to really be prepared to do this quote unquote properly and have all your ducks in a row and try to like make this plea to the large companies that be that like, hey guys, this is really important to us. Like we would like to keep these things around for generations to come to enjoy this, and not just a couple of guys who come together to say like, to stick it to the man That's nice for the short run, but it does absolutely nothing and ultimately hurts the cause overall because now people are afraid to even put up Switch games anymore, which means what will happen is they will either remove them forever or just go away quietly until Nintendo does their own thing again and then they'll reappear.
Yeah.
And so when the Switch 2 drops, then like all the Switch emulators will probably come back out and we'll have them. But to me, unless you want to like really try to make a play for quote unquote games preservation, if that's the real truth behind your reason for doing this, somebody's got to.
Yeah, I think there should be the biggest rule is don't emulate current gens.
Yeah.
Never. That should be like a stand. So
yeah, because and you know what, Nappy, you're absolutely right. Because if the organizational piece becomes way too difficult, then just be smart about it. You know what I mean? Like if we always know that we can go to the back alley to pick up what we need, stop advertising the back alley stores on TV. And definitely don't start selling the newest and latest products in your stores already. Wait a few years down the line, and you can get away with it just as you can. I'm guaranteeing you right now, most emulators from PS4 on down are pretty easy to find.
Well, they actually don't got to play. The PlayStation 4 emulator is still in the works. 360 and PlayStation 3 emulators are the ones that are starting to become more public.
Okay.
Yes, now the 360 is about to end their support, and this year in July, a lot of people have been buying in 360 games, downloading from the 360 and dumping it onto their computers.
Yeah. So, play it smart because otherwise they're coming for you. And there is no amount of righteous justice that you have on your side that's going to stop the billion-dollar company of Nintendo, who was most recently named like the wealthiest company in Japan, from shutting you down. It isn't going to happen.
$2.4 million.
Yeah, it isn't going to happen unless you gotta like come all the way correct. And even then, they just might bleed you out by time.
Yeah, so I remember what I was gonna say now. But what I was gonna say is that Nintendo cares a little bit more than PlayStation and Xbox. One, because they own their own content, and two, because all they do is make video games. That's all they are, is a video game company. Whereas Sony does a bunch of other things, Microsoft does a bunch of other things. Their number one priority isn't the protection of, their content from emulators. I mean, I'm sure it's up there, but it's not like.
No, actually, you make a great point, Pharaoh, because like if we just historically, Sony's a media company.
Yeah.
They were definitely very front and center during the sort of Napster, Kazaa, LimeWire days when people were illegally downloading music.
Yeah.
Cutting into our bottom line. And I am sure Microsoft does not ever want anybody to be downloading free keys of Office or Word or anything like that because they are a software sort of engineering company. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You're right. Nintendo's bread and butter is like our video games. This is what we got.
Yeah. And also, as far as like PlayStation 2, even PlayStation 3, PlayStation 1, Xbox 360, those emulators are kind of safe because during those generations, Sony and Xbox didn't own most of the content that released on those platforms. So, they can't they're not really gonna come after you for, Jade Empire, because they don't own Jade Empire. They don't own like half of those games that you think of that are synonymous with their brand. So if I get a PS1 emulator and I play Wild Arms 2 or Legend of Legai or something like that, they don't care because they don't own the game to begin with. So I think that's why you don't see like Sony going after, PS1 emulators or Xbox going after original Xbox or 360 emulators because they didn't own like 90+% of that content that released on their platform. That's kind of where I was. That was what I was going to say before I lost my train of thought. But Jube, what are your thoughts on Nintendo coming down with the heavy hand on Yuzu and these emulator communities?
They messed with the sales of one of their crown jewels, man. People there's like some crazy number of people got to play fucking Tears of the Kingdom before that game came out. They absolutely put a spotlight on themselves when they did that. I mean, I don't necessarily consider emulation piracy per se, but that was just kind of a fucked situation where they enabled people to do something like that, and they paid for it. Like ROM sites are shuttering. Like they had to sell their domain. Like it was a good thing. Like I had that shit on my damn Steam Deck, and I'm not gonna be able to get no more ROMs for it. So I'm kind of sad.
There's always a way, but don't be public.
I know, but I mean the biggest thing is we've seen how serious Nintendo has been recently with their enforcement, their things. Don't forget the man that's practically in indentured servitude because he owes them like $40 million or something.
Yeah, he's like he owes Nintendo for life.
I forgot.
Oh god, that family! I felt so bad for them. They actually made a GoFundMe.
For the rest of his life, yo, like that's crazy.
Yeah, it was so bad.
He has to give them $40 million. So
yeah, but like it's the wild thing is like we should have seen them like they was getting more serious about it because they just literally went at that man like, yo,
bro, but all they have is their games.
Jail and restitution.
Nintendo don't do nothing else but games. They never tried to expand out and do anything else. For all of
I wouldn't say they never tried to expand out. They did. They just weren't successful.
What they try to expand out to? I don't know, but
I mean
outside of gaming, I don't.
I would say they're a toy company, so like theoretically,
yeah, that's what they were a toy company first before a video game.
They
started off with trading cards.
Yeah,
and then theoretically, like
cards.
The Mario Land stuff is also theirs, but they don't own it in a music park. They just sell their IP to
they license now.
Yeah.
So even the movies, they license.
Yeah, they're.
But they are very heavy-handed. They were very heavy-handed with the Mario movie, which I'm glad they were because
they have to protect their property. Yeah, they have to protect their property. They're going to show their property in the best light. Like
and they're a company that, like, historically,
the old Mario Brothers movie, that's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it ain't
one of the best movies of all time.
Stop
it. And that's why they're so like crazy about it. Like the old Mario movie, Legend of Zelda, Wand of Gamelon, and the CDI ones, where they were like, "Yeah, guys, you can use our property," and I'm like, "Oh, never again."
Look at Sonic. Look how close Sonic was to being a flop, just because they decided to make Sonic look how they felt like making him look instead of making him look like Sonic.
Yeah, but they corrected the mistake, and it's a success. It's honestly one of the best video game movies ever.
And yeah, they got a Netflix show. The Sonic 3 is coming out later this year, and it's funny that DLC. Yeah, it's funny that Knuckles is coming out.
Yeah, pull Jim Carrey out of acting retirement. Like they're doing something right.
Jim Carrey just wants to have
invested.
fun.
He's invested,
and I think that was Hollywood has gotten so stale, and Sonic was a movie that just allowed him to have fun again. So yeah, I'm glad that he got a chance to kind of do it the way that he likes to do it, as opposed to like just being in this like crazy cycle that Hollywood's going through, where they don't know how to make a movie anymore, and they just suck off of superhero movies and video game IPs at the moment. But yeah. Anything else you want to say, Jubei?
No, them Nintendo ninjas do not play, bro. Yeah, they don't play.
That's all they got is their games, man. That's all they got. Like, Frank Lucas, all he had was Blue Magic. You can't mess with Blue Magic, man.
They already waiting on
let me put my headband on
so they can go with them. You know what I mean? Like
I'm putting my headband on. I'll fight all those ninjas. I'll take them all on.
Nah, bro. He gonna miraculously go quiet because
you gotta keep the product pure. Like, feel me?
As soon as later my stream just goes offline and you guys never hear from me.
They're gonna see all them Nintendo controllers and be like, "Hey, I don't think we got to cut of this, bro."
You can't let
Yuzu
on. That's funny. Speaking of controllers, they actually 8-Bit Dough. They can't. There's a reason why 8-Bit Dough can't sell these controllers anymore.
Yeah.
They had to change the model to these nasty looking green and purple versions of these.
They,
Yeah,
I
they
actually
ain't
looked
funny.
on. So I looked on eBay. This controller right here, $200 used.
you see,
This one, $150 used.
you see, my problem isn't that Nintendo shuts like people like that down. I don't have a problem with them shutting them down. My problem is that they don't shut them down and then proceed to make the product. Like,
Oh yeah, you're never gonna get something like
They
this.
simply just wanted to go away for forever.
like just
Yeah, simply a modern version of the Super Nintendo controller and the Famicom version.
like
Yeah, you're not gonna get
I would
that.
rather Nintendo like come in heavy-handed and be like, look, you're gonna make a 3% profit on this, and we're gonna take the rest, or you're gonna shut down. You choose.
Well, it's kind of interesting though because I don't think that Nintendo Switch has like a license for like Nintendo Switch controllers because there is so many Nintendo Switch controllers. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, I would like
the amount of Nintendo Switch controllers.
I would like to see Nintendo make deals with some of these companies as opposed to just like, no, we don't like that, shut it down. Like,
Yeah, I mean that's what Xbox is doing. Xbox has reached out to some other companies. Had the PDP Vitrix is now got an Xbox version. The it looks like they kind of reach out to Big One about the Armor X Pro because
yeah,
it technically can't work without the Xbox controller. So and it's an Xbox accessory.
yeah, like,
So it's like they're not completely off. I think Nintendo should like reach out to these people. Heck, I think Nintendo like honestly like they should think about looking at things like from a software approach as well, like because they do make cheap hardware.
yeah,
Maybe a software license can be suitable as well for who knows if you want to play for upscale.
They
or
want to sell
something.
that hardware. No, they need to. They want to sell that Switch because they make the Switch just cheap enough. It's just cheap enough that when it breaks, you don't have a problem buying another one.
I know that. I mean, even that
It's
they'll
true.
just sticking to Nvidia.
Because kids lose
and
their
they got
Switches
that-
all the time. Them Joy-Cons.
Yeah, I
break.
know.
Like all
my
types
niece
of stuff.
did.
And it's just cheap enough to where people will go out and they'll kick their feet and they'll scream at their kids or they'll be pissed at themselves for breaking it and they'll go get another one. When the screen cracks, they'll just go get another one. Like it's just cheap enough.
It's $200. It's like
Love that Joy-Con drift.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's just $200.
Yeah,
I can swing that.
You're not happy to spend it, but it's cheap enough that you will do it.
Yeah,
begrudgingly.
Yeah, like okay, I guess like this could have been going out money for me.
Yeah.
Instead, now I gotta buy this thing.
If you can't afford it,
man,
you'll just go
Nintendo,
get a
you suck.
Switch Lite and keep it pushing.
Get the Switch Lite.
I mean,
Screw Nintendo. I don't care.
that's how they get down.
I don't care. God damn it.
But
Yuzu.
we do
I'm
have
not
a
even going to say the
contribution
other
to this
English
topic from the
name.
legendary Yobi as far as game preservation is concerned. He said, I believe the only person who can make game preservation a reality is Phil Spencer. Reason why he says this is he's had serious talks about game preservation.
I mean, quite frankly, what you need is that sort of
you need a champion
champion, particularly from both sides. You need from the consumer side as well as the sort of producer side.
Yeah.
Phil can be poised to do that, and at very least has enough to like be able to talk to Nintendo and PlayStation about like, hey guys, how can we make this work?
Well, they have and they have the in the military we have like capability and intent. Like what is their intent, and do they have the capability of actually fulfilling that intent? Them being Xbox having the backing of Microsoft, they have the capability to, create these servers and store all this mass data in a way that
they could.
Nintendo may not be able to
put it on Game Pass and like you can cloud stream all your 360 games.
You're not cloud streaming Mario 64 or Super Mario Bros. Super Nintendo version. That's not happening.
Oh no, not Nintendo. Nintendo they too cheap, man. They buy the cheapest barrel. They never use latest and greatest technology in their equipment. it's
what
frustrating.
we need is Phil for just be able to, or any of the one of the three to just be able to, like, they have the ear of each other. They don't listen to us.
I mean, but can you imagine? Like, can you imagine if once games hit like 15 years of age, 20 years of age? I mean, because the game industry's been around long enough that they go into like some sort of repository that everybody can access regardless of platform and like kind of play those games, whether it be like a service fee like Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or whatever Nintendo offers where you pay every month for it, or you just like buy the games for like $1 a piece or whatever. So like you can pay like Super Mario Brothers for like $1, like the same you would pay.
So are you talking about like the raw files themselves?
No, like like you would like
they probably won't give us the raw files,
but you would just be able to like access it, like whether you're on PC, Xbox, like any game that's over like 25 years old, and like you like just play it off an emulator basically that allows you to play like all those old games, like kind of like when you purchase an arcade, like you can go to like an arcade store and purchase an arcade, and you can have them put like 10,000 games on there, and you can pick whatever console you want to play it off of, and think like the same thing but digitally. Like once games hit a certain age, they're eligible to be put in that catalog, and you can pay to have access to it, or you can like a la carte certain games. So if you want to play like something that's like really old, like I would love to play like Brave Fencer Musashi again, for instance. That was like a PS1 game. I could like play that for like $2 on this particular service on any platform. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, you know that how they're going to circumvent that? They're going to re-release the games.
There's certain games that just aren't going to get re-released.
Yeah, like, or even just put on any streaming service. Like, to Pharaoh's point, Brave Fencer Musashi's not on PlayStation Now, I believe, or it might be.
No,
I don't think it is.
I doubt it is.
So it's like, I just can't play it. Like, not happily, but I'll pay PlayStation access to classic games. But they just got PlayStation Classic.
Yeah. And they don't own all those games that are in PlayStation Classic. They don't own any of them. So it's really up to them making a deal with the publisher for the publisher to, put those games there. Like Parasite Eve is another one. Vagrant Story, another one. Like I would go back and play some of those games.
Yeah. Speaking of games are coming back, Star Wars Battlefront is now coming back, and they can run on a potato on PC.
So I do think that there is a revenue stream that they're missing out on by like not like making these older games accessible in some type of way. Like even if you only pay like $1 for them, like I still you could kind of see what people kind of want to be remade. Like we're in this remake era. Like you can kind of see where the remake money is going towards. Like, oh, people really paying for this and that. All right.
I can't believe it. I just paid $30 because they do the Star Wars Battlefront, the original Battlefronts, Legendary Collector's Edition is remade. They're opening up servers and people are going crazy because it can literally run on the integrated graphics on your PC.
Because I think one of the risks that people beg for certain remakes, and I think one of the risks that the company sees is that how like this community that's asking for the game, how big is it really? Like if I remake this game and like because a community of like 500,000 people ask for it, but they're the only 500,000 people that buy it,
I say like wait 4 generations. After 4 generations, it's good to bring some old IPs back.
I think it's good because it depends on the IP, but if the game was successful before, it's a good chance that it'll be successful again, with some fixing.
With a new audience.
Yeah, with some fixing up and
I say a minor touch, but
speaking of remakes, we can dive into our next topic, which is actually about a remake. Let me get my timestamp for you guys. We're doing good. Rebirth impressions. Before we give our impressions on the game, I did see some data that came out as far as speaking about Rebirth, and I think if this data is coincides with digital data. I think that exclusivity deal with Sony, I think those will be a thing of the past because Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the UK data showed that box sales were down 30% compared to Remake, which I think
really.
Which I think is more than fair because not everybody who played Remake owns a PlayStation 5 anymore. Like some people are still playing on their PS4s and PS4 Pros that bought the game. So
Did they give data on digital?
Or they went digital. I think that could be a combination of both.
I'm gonna say because either way, that looks bad. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not a bad game. Everyone loves it.
I mean, we're talking about 4 years. I mean, I could see like a 15% drop. 30% is pretty big. But I've been playing Rebirth and I think the game's amazing. But you know, I've held on and I've said it for a long time that exclusivity with Final Fantasy, Square's biggest franchise, has held that franchise back for so long now. Like Final Fantasy 15, they were trending towards being that, you know, every time we drop a Final Fantasy, we're going to sell 20 million. And they decide to go exclusive with the next 2 installments, Remake and 16, and they're barely scratching 10 million. So they lost 5 million in sales off of going exclusive, and I don't think Sony made up $5 million worth with whatever agreement that they made. I doubt that happened. That's a lot of games to make up for. But yeah, the game is out. I personally, I'm 50 hours in. I'm having a great time with it. But I'm gonna throw it to Zero.
I think
first.
it just might be you and I.
Because Nappy is protesting. I don't think he owns a PlayStation. Do you own a PlayStation?
No,
or
I don't
an
own a PlayStation. I don't either. I'm a strictly PC gamer and
strictly a PC gamer.
Slightly a mobile gamer playing Hack right now.
Okay. So, yeah, just me and Zero played the game. Zero's about 8 hours in. What are your impressions so far playing Rebirth?
I really, really, really enjoy it. I've said before, I'm not a fan, and I'm still not really, of how they split it up. But it does seem to be paying dividends in the split because I can tell how sort of different it is from Remake. With some of the little things, then there are things like the synergy moves, but a large portion of it that I really, really enjoy is it feels like such a fleshed out world.
Yes.
Growing up, played a lot of Final Fantasy VII. I played it over and over and over, to the point where it became very similar to, like, if you read a good book, you're on that last page, you've sort of said goodbye to some friends that you've made. Be it Harry, be it Legolas, be it Mr. World or anybody in between. You've sort of like went on this journey, ups and downs and shocks and awes, and when it's all over, like, it's done. And for Final Fantasy VII, that happened, and we did it multiple times, and then you just sort of have the image of what the world looks like in your head, as opposed to what the PS1 graphics could provide for you. And the biggest, eye-opening moment I first got to there was the City of Calm, which I always took to be a town.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you play the very first one, it just feels like a little town.
Yeah, it does.
And, which isn't too dissimilar from anything else in the history of Final Fantasy. They're far more sword and sorcery than they are techno cyberpunk, and not including, like, Midgar and stuff. The moment I stepped into town, I was calm. I was taken back because I'm like, beautiful. This is like a little city. And this is amazing.
Bro, the hotel in Calm.
Yes.
has so much detail in it. It is such a beautiful inn, hotel, whatever you want to call it. You're just like, wow, I can't believe they put that much detail into just this hotel.
This hotel, which like arguably you won't even spend much time in.
No, you won't.
Yeah, like it's not even like a major
gorgeous
point. It's just a place you go and then you leave. It's like or just running around the town. I praise Spider-Man 2 for doing this as well. The NPCs in the game are very funny or very interesting. I don't know if you found them, Pharaoh, but in Calm, somewhere in like a back corner, there are two women just slapping each other.
Oh no, I did not see that.
Like I just happened to run by and she was like, "You hussy," and she just slapped her. And like they're just on this repeat loop of slapping each other, and then they're like, "Dang, that was pretty good." And then they're back to slapping each other again. I was like, "What is happening?" But like all the little NPCs do stuff like that, and they talk and they have their own things. It doesn't go for as long as like Spider-Man 2 does, but it's really, really cool. The open world nailed it. It is not as intimidating as open in Assassin's Creed, but it's not also as barren as say in Elden Ring or Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild. I'm not going to say
the open world is gorgeous. Like I'm comparing it to Final Fantasy 16, and
yes,
it's like Final Fantasy 16 was like a very barren open world.
Same with 15.
15 was completely barren. Like it was like nothing in the open world. Except like at nighttime when there's like monsters in the road. The Rebirth open world is like very vibrant. No matter where you're at. Whether you're and it's always something that's like gonna capture your attention, whether you're chasing like these like phoenix birds that lead you to like these materia
light stream
hotspots,
crystals,
or the little chocobos that guide you to
the rest stops,
which are really fast travel points.
Yep.
It's a very well fleshed out world, and I think I actually like that the game is broken up into 3 pieces. I would like it as one complete product, of course, because I don't want to wait 4 years between each installment. But I do like it in the sense that like after Remake, they got a chance to sit back, take a deep breath, and flesh out the next part. And it looks like it has paid off dividends. It's the one thing my biggest impression from Remake so far was it recaptured like that Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy, like back in the day, PS1, PS2, even like PS3, they had like these like gorgeous video modes, where everything just looked so pristine and perfect. They captured that again in their cutscene. I don't know how. Did you make it to Junon yet?
I'm right at Junon now.
So when you get to Junon,
gone into the city yet?
Yeah, when you get actually like in the city and like you start doing the parade and all that, and they start doing those cutscenes, you'll be like, "This is Final Fantasy again." Like as far as like how they did the visuals, like it's like, wow, this is really even like, and they do it again at Costa del Sol. Like they are like visually like nailing this game in a way that I haven't seen Final Fantasy do it in a long time. Like probably like since 10. Like where you just like they go into these like cutscenes and they're just visually stunning and pristine. That has really stood out to me so far, and it has such a great fun factor. The one thing that I will say that's kind of a knock is that each of the biomes have so many side tasks that you have to do. It's like more than 20 per biome, and it's like 6 biomes. So it can be a little tedious if you want to do everything.
It feels checkmarky.
Yeah,
Like, let me check
it
off
is
this
kind of
box, do this
checkmarky,
box.
but
Yeah.
but they do a good job with it because they incorporate story into it.
I was gonna say the one reason why I enjoy it is because I really like learning about the world. So
Yeah.
understanding that Calm is basically sort of an offshoot. It's Midgar County, effectively. Like, you know, I'd never understood that. I don't think it was ever really implied in the original.
Well,
But like, you know, they're weirdly connected in that way. Or the war between Junon and Shinra.
yeah, the way that they explain it, basically through like Junon, Costa del Sol, and even Corel, like pretty much all these cities were pretty much independent. Like basically Mako is relatively new as an energy source. Probably came around in like late 70s, early 80s, because the game takes place in the 90s, 2000s, or whatever. And so Mako is relatively new, and when Shinra got a hold of Mako, all those cities were independent, and Shinra took over those cities. And so you kind of have like the older people that live there, they remember being independent, and they don't really care for Shinra, a lot of them. So that's kind of what you end up seeing in this game. Like a lot of people aren't, they tolerate Shinra, but they're not really like fans of Shinra. But Shinra became this dominant force because they control energy.
And I like that because for me in the original, Shinra was effectively the first boss. It is like 2 hours into the story, you get through Midgar, and like I stopped thinking about Shinra because the cool silver-haired dude with the giant sword showed up, and like we're chasing him. This game, I think, does a very good job of showing Shinra's influence across the entirety of the planet.
Yeah.
And that everything that, like, they're really a major part of the problem. From the overall game perspective and just to day-to-day people's lives, because I only view them as representatives of Midgar.
Yeah.
From the original game. And like, yes, they went to Junin because like the president died, so it was like they just had to move somewhere. But you know, outside of the Turks popping up in Rufus occasionally, you don't think about them for most of the game.
They don't feel like a part of the story anymore. In Rebirth, they feel a part of the story the entire way.
Yes, and I think that's excellent because they really are the bad guys, like through and through.
Yeah.
Are you having issues with performance mode? It did look a little wonky for me.
I haven't touched performance mode. The demo was in graphics mode, and you couldn't go to performance mode, and I just kind of been playing with the mode that they kind of set me in from the jump.
Yeah, admittedly, my TV isn't the best for performance mode anyway, but it did look a little janky, so I just went to graphics.
Even graphics was a little janky at some parts, but for the most part, it's been pristine.
The chocobo running throws me off a little bit.
The chocobo running is kind of weird to me because sometimes you got to like press R2 twice to get the chocobo to really sprint.
Yeah, but like their sprinting animation, it could just be my TV, but like their sprinting animation sort of throws me off for a bit in graphical mode. Like, what's happening?
I'm not even paying attention.
That's the worst I've come across.
I'm not even paying attention to how the chocobo moves. I have to look. I'll probably look at it now that you said something. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of kind of where it's going. So far, I'm like 3 chapters out from finishing. Basically, I'm almost done chapter 8. I'll finish chapter 8 tonight.
But without spoiling anything,
I'm sorry.
Without spoiling anything, do you feel like you have a sense of how this is going to end and
I have
where
no idea.
Interesting.
Another thing that I found interesting is that in Midgar, you were finding materia on every single damn corner. Like you had no problem finding materia. You can't find materia for shit in Rebirth.
Nope.
You come across it here and there, but it's not. And you got the impression that you would find a lot of materia when you did the demo in Nibelheim, because you found a lot of materia in the demo, but it's very sparse in the game. And then some materials that you're used to having. I'm 50 hours in. I just gotta revive materia. So like I've been having to use Phoenix Downs. I'm not used to using Phoenix. Like I don't use items. Like I barely even use ethers.
Which makes Chadley's summon battles kind of challenging. Because you
the
can't
summon
use
battles
items in
are
his
actually
battles.
very easy if you do all the tasks in the region first.
So far, I've only done I'll just do the one to get him down the one level. So I got Titan. I can get Phoenix. I can get him. I can get him.
Yeah, Phoenix wasn't bad, but I haven't done the next region. You're not there yet. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But it's a summon that we all know and love. And then the proto relics, it looks like there's another summon that we all know and love. I'm not sure if it is who I think it is, but if it is who I think it is, I'm gonna be pumped. And another thing, I didn't like that people who played Remake weren't rewarded with some sort of carryover from the last game. Like I would like to at least have 30% of my gil that I left Midgar with, or something like that. Something that kind of makes you feel like I played the last game in the new game.
What you get the save data I know you get the save data bonus from Intergrade, and that gets you.
It don't get it. It doesn't get you anything that makes you feel like you played the last game.
That's true. I thought they gave us a summon. Did they? Maybe they didn't. Now I think about what summons I have.
They did. I think you get.
Was it Leviathan?
I think it is Leviathan.
But you have to beat Leviathan on Intergrade in order to get it, right?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. I gotta look to see. I now can't remember if I have Leviathan or not.
But
I know I didn't beat him in Intergrade.
That is a slight knock for me. I wish they did something that made me feel like I played a remake. But yeah, nothing. I do like that you can change outfits now, and you can actually you can play the rest of the game in those outfits.
I've seen that. That does look very
cool. Like the bikinis and stuff from Casa del Sol, once you get those, you could play the whole rest of the game in those bikinis.
Oh man, I'm putting Barrett in his sailor suit, and that's what we're running for from here on out.
Barrett is clean as shit in that sailor suit, boy. I'm telling you, he's clean as shit in that.
Also, the music.
As far as the game and story goes, without going into spoilers, I do like how they changed the characters. Like Aerith feels so much more fleshed out.
They feel like real people.
Tifa feels so much better to me in this game as opposed to the original. In the original, she was very silent. Like she had all this stuff pent up in, as far as her recollection of events versus Cloud's recollection of events, and she never really dealt with them. And now she's a lot more confrontational when it comes to those type of issues. So I do like that. You see that at the very beginning of the game, as soon as he, tells his version of events, they talk about it without talking about it. And we saw it in the trailer, so I won't call it a spoiler. But I also like the difference as far as being a person who played the original. In the original, Sephiroth, his mental tactic towards Cloud was attacking whether or not Cloud really existed. they made him question his own existence. In this one, he makes him question the existence of others. So I like the difference in tactic, and it makes you question, like it adds more layers to some of the people who played the original of, is this a sequel, or is it just a reimagining? Let's see. Anything else that I really
No, I mean, like I said, I'll co-sign with you with the characterization. I think of all of them, at least the ones I've seen so far. And I noticed it in Remake originally. Just based on general, Archie comics of it all. Of course, I understood that there was a love triangle between Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith. But in the original game, it never dawned on me. It never dawned on me why he would pick Aerith, because to me, she had not much of a personality.
Yeah.
It very clear, like her personality shines so clear in the new, just in the new game as a whole.
Yeah.
That's like really impressive, and then so does everybody else's. Like Cloud is much better. Tifa's like you said, Tifa's fantastic. Barrett's cooler. Red 13's far more interesting. I haven't gotten to Kate Sith and Sid, but even from Integrate, Yuffie is like far more interesting. Like they feel like real characters as opposed to initially it was just like kind of folks along the journey.
So you haven't seen it yet. You won't see it until you get to Undercity Junon, but they do this weird thing with Red 13, and it's gonna make you like question what's going on, because like him and Aerith have these interactions, and they're very different. You'll see when you get to it.
Okay.
But it's interesting. It makes you want to see like what's going on with Red 13, because they're still caught up on like the Whisper stuff. So you'll see that. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I really don't have much more to. I do look. How'd you like the combat? Are you using the synergy skills at all? I know you build up to the synergy abilities, but are you actually using the skills?
Yeah, but both. Yeah, absolutely. Like I love them. I think it elevates combat in a way, which to me, back when we had this conversation way back when about, is this even Final Fantasy anymore because it's not turn-based? I think stuff like this adds to, like, this is still very much Final Fantasy.
So I think they miss on one major aspect of the synergy skills, and that's that the synergy skills do not contribute towards the synergy bar and you using the synergy abilities. So it kind of de-incentivizes using the synergy skills to an extent.
It does. I think the best way to have done it then, like the synergy skills would have had to be on a cooldown.
And I don't feel like the synergy skills help build up your ATB bar either.
No, they're fairly limited in anything that they do outside of a quick here and there.
Yeah. But
but I think that's why they can be infinite.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the skills, but I wish that they at least contributed, like they built up your ATB bar of the character that you don't control faster.
Right.
I wish it did that, because if it did that, then it would help you get to your ability a little bit quicker.
And who knows? Maybe there's a skill for it. And
if you look at the skill tree, there's a lot of cool stuff in the skill trees.
Yeah, so maybe it's up there somewhere.
One of the cool things that I like is that they combined some of the materia. So I think fire and ice got combined, and like lightning and wind got combined.
Yes.
So it's so you don't have to have, you can have less materia slots taken up. But the only thing is, I've only gotten one of each of those materia. I wish they had more of those than just giving you one.
This game, I don't remember if it did it in the original. Does it do like the original? I mean, I don't remember from remake how in the original, once you max it all out, does it spawn another materia?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't do that at all. But yeah, I do like that. I do wish they did a little something different with the synergy skills. I wish they built up the ATB faster. But other than that, I mean, those are pretty much my initial impressions. I'm really trying to like do everything under the sun in this game on my first playthrough, so that when I go through on my second playthrough, I can just like really like just enjoy the story straight through and just play the story straight through without having to deal with the open world as much. But yeah, I'm having a good time. The piano stuff is cool, a little challenging. But I feel like once you get the pacing, it's pretty easy to kind of push through and get a high score. You just gotta get that, because once the notes start flying, you'll hit everything on great as long as you get like that first note correct. Because you got to be so fast anyway. By the time you get to it, it's like automatically a great, as long as you catch it. I did have one issue with Barrett's theme where one of the moves, it would say that I missed, but it counted it as it scored, and it was like kind of messing with me this morning. Yeah, other than that, I'm having a great time at the Gold Saucer. All the mini games are great. I think Queen's Blood should be a little mobile game. They can make a lot of money.
Queen's Blood would do well as a mobile game.
Huh?
Yeah, Queen's Blood would do well as a mobile game.
It would. You could like sell little packs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Triple Triad is already one, so you can definitely do Queen's Blood.
They should do that, especially if Rebirth isn't, selling as much because some people haven't, migrated from the PS4 to the PS5. If that's the case, I mean, that's a good way to kind of make up that lost revenue of people not coming over yet. But yeah, I would play Queen's Blood on my phone and beat Zero every day. Wouldn't mind doing that.
Oh, guys, what are we doing here? Even Jubei can't manage me in card games. That's just what I do.
That is 100% cap, and you know that. We can hop on Master Duel right now. Right now. You won't get a turn. I'm guaranteeing it.
But yeah. I wish Omar was here for this portion, because Jubei has been preoccupied with 14 playing the MMO. And he
really good, strong MMO. One of the strongest MMOs out right now.
He won't come up off that gorgeous Xbox to come over to PlayStation for a week and play some Rebirth.
Nah, I gotta finish Remake first.
I was about to say, what did I see you playing the other day? It was Remake.
No.
He's playing it though. He was on the other day playing it.
And I do another thing that I like, and I don't think it's a spoiler because it takes place very early in the game. I do like how in Remake, like Tifa and Cloud, their relationship was growing like really fast. Like pretty much, if they didn't get kicked out of Midgar, like things that actually settled down, they probably would have been like a full-on couple, like a couple days later. The way they were all touching and feeling on each other the whole damn first game. And then in Rebirth, the relationship kind of resets, and and it makes sense how they make it reset, and like you kind of rebuild that up with the character. I was kind of hurt and calm when they had their little first argument.
That was something different.
Huh?
That was definitely something different.
I kept knocking on the door when she went to her room.
like, go to bed.
Like, with my girl back. But But yeah, I mean, I think it's a very good game. I think that this game should have been like the new launch point for Square Enix, and I still hope that it is. I know the exclusivity window ends in May, so I hope it quickly makes it to PC, so that people like Nappy
We'll
can
see.
play it. I want this game to sell as much as possible. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. I'm a big Final Fantasy 7 fan. I want like and in my dream world, like Final Fantasy 7, each installment sells 25 million plus, and we get a couple spin-offs, and maybe like a little Netflix animation, and I'd be in heaven. So I want to see the game do as good as possible. It comes to PC, I'll probably buy a copy on PC as well. Help them get there.
Oh, you gonna buy me a copy then?
No, I'll
Thank
buy
you,
a
man. I
copy for
appreciate
myself,
it.
and then I will go like to some website and download someone's save file where they have everything already, so I don't have to grind through the whole game again. But yeah, that's what I'll do. But I definitely I'll pick it up. They put it on PC.
Mhm.
And then another thing with PC, you can have unlimited materials. So the materials that they only give you one of, you can have multiple of those. I definitely.
Oh,
do
so
that.
you're just gonna use a cheat engine and just spawn a bunch of material for yourself.
I want to enjoy the game. I've already grinded through and beat it. So by the time I get it on PC, I just want to play it and have fun. I don't want to be hindered by whatever rules they put on me. That's why I got a PC for.
Okay.
So yeah, but by the time it comes to PC, I will have probably beaten that game once on regular mode. If they have a hard mode, I'll probably beat it on the hard mode, and then I'll probably play it again. Probably beat like 3 times before it even comes to PC. So yeah, by the time it gets to
That's
PC,
fair.
I just want that save file that someone already put out for me, and I just want unlimited materials of the materials that I want, so I can do the builds that I want. It'd be good. Have a good time. Play with Sephiroth some more. Because Sephiroth, his skill set is fun. He's a hell of a skill set. Yeah.
This game needs to be on other consoles.
This game needs to be everywhere. Everywhere that can run it. I want the game to sell as much as possible. For my own selfish reasons. I want it to sell as much as possible as a fan of it.
Yeah. It's all exclusivity.
There's nothing worse than like shows or games that you care about and you're really a fan of just, kind of dying off because they're just not selling enough. Like there's so many that I can think of. Like when they did the reboot of Thundercats. That show was fire. No one watched it. So didn't get any more episodes. But
I don't think the new generation cares about Thundercats.
That new show was fire though. I didn't care. I didn't care about the old Thundercats. I didn't like the old Thundercats that much. I watched it here and there because it came on like Toonami or whatever. But the new one, I like the new one. That Lion-O was fire. Liked him. I like young Lion-O before he became the head of the Thundercats. Yeah, but there's so many that I can think of. Whether it be shows or games. Parasite Eve. I would love to see another Parasite Eve. But I guess it didn't sell enough for them to keep that going. But I think Aya Brea would be amazing on a PlayStation 5 right now. But hey. The Bouncer. Another great PS2 game.
Oh, they'll never remake The Bouncer.
They'll never remake The Bouncer. They don't even have to remake it. They can just reboot it.
I'd even play it if they just put it in PS Classics.
Yeah. They could just reboot, or you can put in PS Classics, but you could just reboot it. Like, there's so many great games. Like the whole Wild Arms series. They can make another Wild Arms. Wild Arms would look so great on a PS5 modern graphic. Probably not gonna happen. But yeah. That's all our topics for today. So unless anyone else has any contributions to the Final Fantasy topic,
you and Daddy makes a phone.
We are gonna roll into outros.
Nope.
So let's see. Let me put this timestamp in. Oh, we are right at 2 hours.
Oh, nice. That's a short one.
Yeah.
I actually can go to bed at a
Go
decent
back to your
time.
gaming. So yeah.
Why are you up so late?
It's
What's
early
going
for
on over
me.
there?
I don't even think about going to sleep till like 1 a.m.
Probably spending all his time illegally downloading video games.
I don't know what you're
He
talking
over
about.
there. He over there. He over there in the ROM verse.
He's like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, I'm
probably
playing. I'm just
panicking.
enjoying dot hack from my childhood, man. Tell me where I can find this game.
Games are terrible.
He's panic downloading right now. Don't let that mobile game distract you from the truth. He's downloading every retro game that he can.
It's funny. This is a PlayStation 2 game.
For
It's
Nintendo.
it's a fire sale on Nintendo ROMs.
I'm fucking weak.
So yeah, but Nappy, so you can go back to your gaming undisturbed. Give us your outro. Where can people find you? What were you?
All right, guys. Again, I'm happy to be on the show with all the people on this panel today. If you guys want more of me, I recently just released a review of the GameSir G7 SE controller on my YouTube channel. So it is the budget-friendly controller with Hall-effect joysticks, and that can be overclocked to 1,000 hertz with a warning symbol that if you do overclock to 1,000 hertz, you may experience some issues and possibly brick your controller. So, you know, if you do get this controller, I do highly recommend it on a budget friendly. It's nice for competitive gaming. Got 2 programmable back buttons. Just if you're scared about that 1,000 hertz, just overclock it to 500 hertz. It's the 500 hertz seems to be the safest one. So, and plus you get 2 millisecond input latency, which still 2 millisecond input latency, 1 millisecond input latency. A lot of you are not going to feel the difference unless you like one of those esports pro gamers where you like literally got the top notch everything. How is the control end actually has a way of working with the Xbox buttons, trigger stoppers, and this honestly like a really fun controller, built-in gyro, all that stuff. And also because I'm in on the PlayStation 2 emulator train, I bought a modern controller used for retro PlayStation 2 games. So this is about on the PlayStation 2. And I was like, you know what? Let me get this so that way I can have, when I emulate, I have the full-fledged emulation experience. So modern retro controllers that I think are good for you to own if you want to get into emulation. I also want to get the best emulation experience. So yeah, pressure buttons. Forgot all about pressure buttons. And that's about it.
All right. And Zero, what will you be playing and where can people find you?
As always, guys, and a little bit of Apex. Pretty much what I'll be playing in and out. I'm gonna give my Nintendo a little bit of break because I've been pushing that hard earlier this year, and I'm sure, funny enough, I dabble back into Halo occasionally, just jumping through 1 through Infinite in the multiplayer modes just to have some fun. So every once in a while, you'll catch me on there. But 0x386, pretty much anywhere I'll be, just like, comment, subscribe. I'll be around.
All right. Oh yeah, I don't know what I can do about the buffering. It says excellent connection whole way, Obi, but
what I do is I try to lower the resolution, and then that's when it works like fine for me.
Happen. Jubei X Sensei on gaming platforms, Jubei Sensei everywhere else. I'm gonna get back on the 14. I need to finish up Remake soon, so I can actually start on Rebirth. Otherwise, I'm just staring at a giant paperweight until I do.
You got the lights underneath in the.
Yeah, that was pretty tight.
I might have to.
I don't have nothing like that. So.
Might have to copy his swag.
What chapter am I on? I don't know. I don't.
Did the plate drop yet? Okay. It's a pretty straight line playthrough. I won't say no. That is today's episode of Vitamin G. I want to thank everyone coming out and getting your weekly dose of that vitamin G. We are out. Peace.
See ya.
I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside. I don't wanna be left on the outside, all alone. all alone.
You rockin' with beasts, discussing the heat in the streets. Take over the west and the east. I got what you need, a dose of this vitamin G.